Ms. Hinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Secretary. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and answer our questions. I appreciate what the Trump administration is doing to try to level the playing field for American consumers and restore our economy to where it needs to be. So I really appreciate the work that you were doing to make that happen, Mr. Secretary. And I certainly, as an appropriator, recognize the importance of making sure that every tax dollar is spent appropriately, and I appreciate your opening comments as such. So with that, the GAO estimates the federal government loses between $233 and $521 billion annually to fraud. Those are alarming numbers, hard-earned tax dollars just wasted. President Trump has certainly acknowledged the absurdity of this level of waste, and he signed Executive Order 14249 to protect America's bank account against waste, fraud, and abuse. And I was proud to support this effort by introducing a piece of legislation to codify that, the Protecting American Taxpayers from Wasteful Spending Act. One of the provisions of this EO is directed at your department, the Department of Treasury, to establish pre-certification and pre-award procedures across the federal government to prevent fraud and improper payments. So can you define for the committee today what an improper payment is and some examples of what you're seeing and why these procedures were not already in place before, Mr. Secretary?
Well, it's a bit mystifying why they weren't in place. And what we are seeing is that there was a very complacent upper level of management in many departments across the entire government. What I can say at Treasury, that of the 1.5 billion payments we send out every year, they're required to have something called a TAS, a Treasury account symbol. We discovered that more than one third of those payments did not have a TAS number. So as the Appropriations Committee, you should be shocked by that, because how can a payment be tracked back to an appropriation? Only through the TAS number. So there was no accountability. So that is why the 450 organizations that sit above Treasury, where Treasury acts as the paymaster, are unable to pass an audit. So we have cracked down on that. Every payment now requires a TAS number. Very simple, and I will tell you that the mid-level employees who I have had come into Treasury to talk to me about that feel liberated. That they have, they tell me, I've been here 20 years. I've always wanted to do this. I've been here 14 years, and they feel as though they now have agency and are making a difference towards saving the American taxpayer money.
So this is not only a complacency issue that you've fixed, but it's a morale issue for these employees who are helping to make the department much more efficient for taxpayers.
They're very energized by their participation.
Yeah, it's certainly unbelievable when you think about that this was not in place, and certainly it's we've got lots of examples from the previous administration of some of those catastrophic failures. Who would you say is benefiting from those improper payments, and how could a government agency really justify standing idly by while those errors were seeping into our system and making our government less efficient?
I can't speak to who was benefiting, but I can just speak to the attitude that has been shaken up, that this is okay, this is not okay, and this is taxpayer money, and we are charged with protecting it.
What other plans are in place to help implement that executive order? You've talked about the Treasury account symbol. Are there other things in that executive order that you are executing on today?
Well, again, the president, as you mentioned, has passed. We are trying to go more paperless with the checks, with the very important checks that the citizens across the U.S. receive, whether it's Social Security, veterans benefits, tax refunds. There is a substantial number of those are stolen. So the president has issued an executive order to try to make that more electronic. That will protect the integrity of those payments, as well as cut down on cost.
Have you been able to claw back any improper payments for the taxpayer, reclaim those dollars?
Yes, we've called back tens of millions of dollars.
Tens of millions. Well, look forward to continuing to work with you to improve those efficiencies and execute on that executive order. Appreciate the work you're doing at Treasury, Mr. Secretary. Thank you.
Thank you.
I yield back.
Thank you, Ms. Hinson. Chair now recognizes the gentle lady from Washington, Mrs. Glusenkamp-Perez.